Okay, so I'm at the Porsche factory and the Porsche Museum in Stuttgart, and it's become Disneyland, and I'm a little disappointed, I have to be honest. Yes, it's the middle of July, so there are a lot of people here, but they've just turned this into a big attraction, which is fabulous, but if you want to get close to the brand, I don't know that this is the way to do it. We tried to book a tour, even though they charged for them, and there were none available. And I've taken a tour probably about 4 or 5 times, so it wasn't that critical. However, I just thought, since I'm in town for the day, that I should come out and see it and look at the gift shop and the museum and so forth. And there are hundreds of people in there. And I don't know, it sort of spoils it for me, because I've been here in simpler times when you were the only guest for the day. And, you know, times have just changed. So I'm a little disappointed, wishing things were different. But I'm going to point around what we're looking at. If you see behind me, this building right here used to actually be a car dealership. It's now part of Porsche. We used to go across the street there and look at the cars that were for sale. And then also they had a great gift shop with Porsche things that you don't normally find in America. And they have a couple of cars on display always out front. And what's behind me now is the Porsche Museum. And if you are in Stuttgart, it's definitely, you should come and pay a visit. You take the S6 train to one stop past Zuffenhausen. And so it's really easy to find, because the train just drops you off right at the museum. You know, they planned it well. And then if I swing around, they've built this median with the 3 cars, which you see if you go to the Porsche website, they kind of highlight that. They built that when they sort of took over the entire area. And then that little building behind me with Porsche on it is where the factory is. And that's kind of the corner of the factory. And on the top of that building, they used to have a restaurant they called the Casino. And they would invite guests to go to that restaurant. And if you came and picked up a car or something, you would be invited to the restaurant. And the very first time I came to Zuffenhausen was back in 97, 96, I think. And we didn't know where we were looking, because I just wanted to find the factory. And none of this, the museum wasn't here, this statue wasn't here. And we just wandered on a building down the street, and it was an office. And we walked into the office and just kind of asked a question. You have to kind of be bold a little bit and put your hat in your hand, because you know that most people don't speak English when you're far out and not in a tourist center. But anyway, they pointed us over to the main building, and when we came in, they actually invited us for lunch. And it was a very fancy lunch with multiple courses. And so, I mean, it was a really special experience. And I was actually doing reconnaissance to order, I think it was a Boxster, Porsche Boxster, when they first came out. And so that kind of gave us the flavor. And then we came back about a year and a half later, after I waited and waited for it to be built, and took a tourist delivery, which is a great way. If you're going to buy a Porsche, they still do it. You pick up your Porsche at either Zuffenhausen here in Stuttgart, or in Leipzig, which is in eastern Germany, and you get to drive your car while you're on vacation for a couple weeks, and then you give it back to them. And the shipping agents that they use have multiple locations in Germany, so you can drive all over Germany and experience the country, and then give your car back, and then it's delivered back to your selling dealer. And unlike BMW used to do this, they finally stopped doing it for North America, because half or more than half of the BMWs are built in America. So you can't do a tourist delivery on a car in Germany that's built in America. So they just stopped the program during the pandemic. It sort of went away. But they used to give you a discount when you ordered a BMW. But Porsche actually charges a fee. So I think it's worth it. But it includes road insurance. They put a license plate on the car that you get to keep as a souvenir when you drop the car off. And it's a great trip. If you want a Porsche, that's the way to do it. But pick your time of year to come out here, because all these people makes for no fun. And I mean, we have buses of school kids and teams and just all sorts of things. And we went into the museum shop, and I clipped some video with my Meta glasses because that's kind of surreptitious, and it was just a zoo. And I don't know, it's just a little disappointing. So anyway, just wanted to make a quick little video of Porsche in Zuffenhausen, which is just outside of Stuttgart. And it's worth a visit if you're in the area or if you want to buy a Porsche, because it's one of those things that you got to put on your bucket list. I forgot to mention one thing. When I first started coming to Zuffenhausen and toured the factory, every Porsche 911 that was built here actually got road tested on the local Autobahn. They actually put tracker on the car, and one of the techs would actually go and drive the car. They didn't have a private track. They now do, and they don't take the cars off the road, but they had trackers so that they didn't go disappearing. But it blew my mind that they would actually take every car and drive it around town. But that was how they tested the cars in days gone by. I mean, this was back in the late 90s. So now most factories have a test track that's private, and they put a car on the road, at least a Porsche goes on a track or something before they give it to you. But it was just really interesting that they actually drove them, and the people that got them off the finishing line actually took them around town, and we took pictures of these guys years ago driving out of the factory, because they come out of a special gate, and you can see this clumpy little tracker that they put on the roof. So it's a very marked car. And I just thought that was fascinating. So I just wanted to add that, because those are some of the things that have changed with time. And the production, they produce many more cars than they used to. And of course, Zuffenhausen is where they build the 911, and they build the engines for the 911 mostly. And again, if you tour here, there's some interesting things to see, and they have different lengths of tours that you can book. But anyway, just wanted to add that. Okay, so I found a little secret shop called the Porsche Brand Store, which is located in the center of Stuttgart. And most people don't know about this shop. I've been here once before, and so we came looking for it. And they have some of the higher end things that they were selling in the museum gift shop, but there's maybe 4 people in this store, and they have beautiful cars to look at, and they have some things from the museum. That they say every week or so they get a car on loan from the Porsche Museum that they put here. And again, this is called the Porsche Brand Store, and it's just a boutique that's basically about sharing information about the brand. And there are people here to kind of answer questions and show all of the Porsche goodies. And so if you come to Stuttgart and you do the museum, you also need to make a stop here, because this is kind of what you expect when you think of Porsche. It's elegant. They have some interesting museum artifacts, and nobody seems to know about it, which is the part that I like. We were able to buy a polo shirt, and they offered us a cappuccino. Just a completely different experience. So I just wanted to add this in because it's something that you want to do if you come to Stuttgart and want to experience Porsche. Such a contrast.
Oh.